these are now on the opposite side. Yesterday it was the reverse. So should we shut those blinds? Or I can do this. Here, you know what I did? This is better.
Okay.
So I just did this, both of the fleur-de-lis,
Nice.
and then that blue thing is in there.
Fabulous.
Do you see it?
Mm-hmm.
All right, so 12 participants are on. How do I add him?
It was like an admin thing.
I want to figure out how to play music while people are waiting.
You're recording right now, do you know?
Yes. Okay. So what's going to happen is we're going to have to cut that before we send it off to everybody. How do I add him?
I don't know where you did it last time.
Invite.
No.
Terry?
How do we add the admin? Do you remember? Is it under participants? Chat.
You don't have those instructions still in here, do you? Anywhere printed out? Let's Google it really quick. How do you add an admin to a Zoom webinar?
Sign into Zoom. User management, role management.
Click user management.
I don't know that it's from there. It might be from the Zoom.
I don't know.
User management here.
Yeah, go into Zoom.
You don't see me on it.
Role management.
Choose the name of users who are being added to the, no, that's a user. No, remember it was how to monitor.
Okay.
What's the name of that?
We are now recording and we have a few minutes before we are going to go live. Hi, everyone. Yes, the slides will be available. The entire recording will be available for multiple watchings. And to be honest with you, you're going to want to rewatch this because I go pretty fast and furiously, and there's so much great content in this webinar that you will want to watch this again. Hello from Italy, Roberto. Awesome. Oh my gosh, I'm thrilled. We have 480 people registered for today. Absolutely awesome. I think we only can hold 500. I know not everybody will be able to attend, but we've got registration numbers that are crazy. And I'm just thrilled everybody is interested in this topic because it's so important. It's so important. And it's just one that doesn't, I don't think, get enough attention in the training world. And I know it's going to help you be way more effective when you are negotiating or converting a lead or anything. So we've got just a couple more minutes and we will be live, and it'll be a great afternoon or morning, wherever you are. Looking for any types of, is it Yodamelia? Nice to see you from New Jersey, one of my favorite states. And Angie and Rebecca, Tracy, Kelly Johnston. We've got, like I said, a huge crowd today, and plan on at least 55 minutes from the hour, because if this will probably be every bit of 55 to 60 minutes. And again, if you have to jump off, we will be providing a link to you. It usually takes a day or two for my team to get the download and then put this out to you in an email, and then also make it available on the Resource Center. So in Berkshire Hathaway Resource Center. So you will have lots of opportunities to watch. Again, hi, Deb. And yes, Marissa, take copious notes. Good idea. You can, we've got a ton of converting techniques. I know you'll be thrilled, and this will be a really well invested hour that you will be working on your business. I hope Brenda Davis is on. Brenda, you out there? we were able to get her the link at the last minute. And everybody, we've got, again, about a minute. I'm just going to make one quick technical question that I want to check with my staff on, and we will be right with you. And then I'm gonna get started. All right, so we are at 1 o'clock, and it is time for our live webinar to get started. And I know lots of you will be joining us, coming on. I'm going to jump in and get started. And we have two ways that you can ask questions today. One is in the Q&A. If you are not familiar with Zoom, you're going to see at the bottom a menu that'll pop up on your screen, and it'll go away and then it'll pop up again. You can join the chat, which everyone can see your comments, and you can say hi to everybody, ask questions in the chat room, or you can go to the Q&A area. If you're having technical difficulties, my very good friend Josh is on here, and he can answer those for you. So we've got support. If you're having a technical issue, either put that in the chat or in the Q&A area, which again is going to be in the bar. So if you are not seeing that, just scroll across the bottom of your screen. It'll pop up, and you'll be in business. So hi, everyone. I am Sherry Johnson, National Real Estate Coach and Preferred Coach with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services. I am so excited to be with you today. We have an exceptional agenda lined up on Speak on Purpose, Speak with Purpose. And again, the fact that you are interested in this topic and learning ways to convert leads better, convert open house leads better, speak with intentional purpose, right? And get use words that actually influence people to make positive action after that is awesome. This will help you keep more deals together. This will help you put deals together. You will be negotiating at a much higher level. You'll be able to compete and win at a listing appointment. You'll be able to compete and generate more leads for yourselves. And you'll stop practicing some bad behaviors that you may not really know you're doing. So we're going to talk about those things that are impeding your ability to compete and win. And you may not know that you're doing them. Usually agents don't know that. I actually taught this course, or did this course at Boston at NAR last year. And so many people were blown away at just the things that you can stop doing, right? I mean, being proactive and doing new things is part of this too. But think about all the ways we're going to hone in your skills and increase your skills so that you're more effective when you're out there competing. And so I just wanted to make sure some more folks could get on. We are recording this, and it will be available for you for future viewing. The slides will be included in that. And we can also just know that you're going to be able to see this in an email link that we send you in about a day or two. So by Friday, you should have this emailed out to you, and you can connect to it and watch it via the email link, or you can go to the Resource Center at Berkshire Hathaway Home Services and watch it there, the same place that you registered for the webinar. So David Masseri, you are awesome, and thank you. You're so sweet. David Masseri, rock star, broker from Ohio, my broker and partner, awesome. So we are talking about how to be more effective. And just real quickly, so I can establish a little bit here, you are all doing great jobs, right? You're all out there selling every day. And as a top agent, I was a top agent. We had 2,000 agents, the company I worked for. And I was in the top 1%, so in the top 20. And I literally have to tell you, I know how hard you work, and I know how hard of a job you do every day and what you do, because I've done it. I not only did it as an agent, successfully doubled my business from $7 to $14 million in 1 year, and then went on. This is, as an individual agent, I know how hard it is to get a listing, to actually finally list with you, to convert leads that you've had forever into a sale. I know how hard it is to negotiate and keep deals together, because literally I did it. And then again, over 23 years, managed the third largest real estate company in the country out of Ohio, and had personally responsible for 750 agents and $1.7 billion of real estate sales. So I was literally going on appointments, keeping deals together, working in the conference rooms with clients as a very, very active sales manager and regional manager, executive, whatever you want to say. And so I know, and I never sat behind a desk. I get it. I engage at your level. And I just want to establish that and let you know that I do know how hard, and I respect the job you do. And I love that you're with the number one trusted brand in the country. And I think everyone needs to remember that, because in 6 years or whatever little short of time that it's been, we are, and I'm with Berkshire Hathaway as a managing broker as well, established already as the number one trusted brand in the country, which I think is huge. So you want to make sure you're using that on your listing appointments and working with buyers and converting people, because not only we're the best brand in the country, in the world, but we are the most respected and we are the most trusted, which I think is huge. So right away, I want to jump into, why have a strategy? Most agents are winging it. And when I say that, what that means is you are hoping, right, that somebody closes a deal, that somebody lists their home with you. We lack having an actual strategy before we make a phone call, before we go on an open house, right? We hope people show up to the open house, and we hope that the seller will accept this offer, and we hope that the buyer will write a decent price. And some of us love the part of negotiating, but we might have a strategy for that, but we really don't have a strategy. And so every good salesperson in any sales industry of any type, especially in real estate, has a good strategy. What do I mean by that? Well, before I pick up the phone, before I do the open house, before I make an offer presentation, right? Before I go on a listing appointment, I need to know, how do I want this to go? What's the end goal? What is the goal of this? Well, if I'm on a listing appointment, it's to get the listing and get it signed the day I'm there. If I'm at an open house, it's to convert leads into listing appointments, right? So that I get a buy and a listing out of each one. So if we're strategic about our efforts, we will be more effective. So I want to talk a lot about being strategic. And then I'm going to include, because this is all about speaking on purpose and speaking with purpose. And when you use intentional words, you will be influencing. And I'm not tricking anybody. Okay, this isn't a sales class on how to be the obnoxious salesperson that's tricking people. I don't ever do that. This is real value add that you are going to make a difference in people's lives by providing helpful solutions, risks and benefits, and being really, really value driven. So never are we trying to trick anybody to make a commission. I want to establish that first, and realize that if you use words and phrases that generate positive action, okay, and avoid the ones that aren't, you are going to be more effective, and you're going to close more deals. You're going to have less bombs. I call a bomb when it has to go back on the market. So when something falls apart, right, you have to look back and say, was I texting the home inspection negotiations? Was I trying to do that on email? And I didn't do it in person. And I will tell you, I saved an agent. She had all these bombs. And I said, well, how are you communicating? And when we got down to what was really happening, she was texting more than talking to people live. And so I will tell you now, and I will say it throughout the hour here, that how you're communicating is going to reflect how effective you are. So she went from having, 20 some bombs, which is just awful out of 100 sales, to having less than 10 bombs a year, right? So how can we effectively change the way you're doing business, tweak those areas, and make sure that for every sales opportunity, you have a goal and a strategy. That's what I want you to think about. So because your next open house will be productive, right? Instead of just reactive. Like many agents just go put a sign in the yard and hope people show up. And then hope people say, I want to buy, Sherry, or I want to list my house. We have to have a strategy. We have to be sitting at the right house for this to work. We have to be strategic. I'm going to sit where the 500, where the 400 pound, where the 50 pound salmon are, rather. Why do I want to be at those houses? Because that's where everybody's at, right? I'm going to be at a house that's in multiple offers because there are more buyers that will show up. So I also want to be strategic and sit at a house that has a move up buyer, because those people will probably have a house to sell, and now I have a listing, and now each person is actually 2 sales, right? So are you strategic, or are you winging it? Are you strategic, or are you just hoping that people show up? I love hope. Hope is great, but hope does not have action. There's no action behind hope. So you have to create the action plan, and you have to go do it. And so having a goal, having a strategy for every sales opportunity. How am I going to convert this lead? How am I going to effectively get myself an appointment is what you have to think about. So when you look at the sales conversion process I developed, it really exemplifies what we do. And I want you to think about this sales conversion process now forever, because we have people we know, contacts, clients, past clients, people we know, people we don't know, people on a farm list, people from online leads that are coming in on your listings, right? So all these people, and again, it's your top 50, it's your key 50 people that refer you clients. Maybe you have a key 150. You have 150 people that constantly refer you business. All these people are on this list, and they know you, or maybe they don't know you. And your job is to identify the need for real estate. Once you have done that, okay, whether it's now or 6 months or 2 years from now, those people all go on a list, right? And they become a lead. Once they're a lead, our job is to convert that into a client. And how they become a client is that you add value, show value, and then you get a commitment from them that they're going to be working with you. And some of you have an exclusive buyer agreement. Some of you don't, but you don't need to have it if you're adding a lot of value, right? And turn that lead into a client. And now the next job for us is to turn that client into an appointment, because we are never going to sell anything if we're not face-to-face on appointments with these clients. So we can't sit back and say, well, gee, I'm waiting for them to invite me to their house. That's not going to happen. People are not excited about selling their house usually, right? It's not fun for people. So you have to get excited and convert these people because you're passionate about the thing you do, that you need to get an appointment. You're never going to write a contract to list someone's house or an offer to purchase if you're not having an appointment face-to-face, right? So we have to get appointments. We usually fail between the leads and clients and the clients and appointments area. This is where we drop people because we don't believe they're motivated enough. We think we only want to deal with the 4 to 6 people who actually want to do something in the next 60 days. So everybody else gets put on a back burner. You don't stay in touch with them and they go somewhere else. Okay, those people are viable leads. So obviously we write contracts, and the rest, we have to keep those deals together, and we make a commission. And so this goes on, and people come in to the process at different stages. Not everybody is an A buyer or a listing opportunity. And what if you've taken my Goldmine Pipeline webinar, and if you missed it, you can go watch it or email us at urock@sherryjohnson.com. And we'll send that off to you, and you can watch the Goldmine Pipeline and understand that every lead goes on the list. We want future business. If the best way to build predictable, on purpose, right, predictable and consistent income is to have a huge pipeline of people you're talking to. I would encourage you to write it down, take the Goldmine Pipeline webinar, or call me directly, and we can talk about what is the Goldmine Pipeline and how will it change your life. But this is what happens right here in the sales conversion is we need to know that we need to convert people at different stages of the process. They're coming to us at different stages, some immediate, some less immediate, right? So they're either they have to sell, they have to buy, or they are waiting. And even a C buyer turns into an A buyer eventually. Are you going to be the one that maximizes that, or someone else? So strategy clearly is, we don't have to go through the definition of it, but again, use this word and think about it. When you're on a listing appointment and you call the pricing section, instead of pulling out comps, I always say to a seller, help me understand what's your pricing strategy. I have a pricing strategy I'm going to share with you. I'm curious, help me understand yours, right? If they're having a little bit too of an ambitious number, let's talk about the strategy. And I literally just had an agent this week tell me that she used that line with someone and they finally admitted they don't have a strategy and they don't really know what they're doing. And so they were a lot more open to her strategy because she pointed out, help me understand your strategy, and they didn't have one. So we want to have a strategy in everything. We want to be strategic, and those that are strategic, those that have a plan, operate at a higher level. And when you're operating at that higher level, you'll convert more business, you'll be more effective, you'll manage client expectations better, and you'll be thrilled and love this job again, right? Because when we aren't managing expectations, that's when everyone gets upset, and then we feel the struggle, we feel the pain, we hate our job, there's a lot of drama, people are not happy with us, and that doesn't help for referrals. So everything goes up. Everything you do goes up to a new level, and you'll be really, really happy. So opportunities aren't lost. They go to someone else. I say this all the time. I want you to think about how many times you didn't maximize an opportunity with a potential seller or a buyer, and they bought a house, and you're like, or they listed with someone else because you didn't overcome their objections, right? To actually, you didn't overcome their objections to list the house in the first place. So we have to be doing that. Amanda, could one of you grab me that better light, please? So we want to have, I've got like this bad lighting going on here, so I'm gonna fix that. So we want to have, honestly, better at bats, and then we want to close those. And there's nothing worse in the top drawer on the left. There's nothing worse than having a bad strategy. And so what happens is, I'll give you examples of what to say and what not to say. But when, for example, when you have people, yes, when you have agents or buyers rather, that sellers that want to list their house and you're not actually capitalizing on that because they're having a bad day, and you over mirror these people, here's what happens. It goes like this. They say, oh, we don't want to list right now. The market's not good, or no one is excited about cleaning their house, right? No one's excited about getting the house ready for sale. You might have to table that conversation. Smart agents listen to emotion. And when you watch the emotion happening, you might say, you know what? I know you're really busy right now. I'm going to call you in a couple days. I really want to still come over and see your house. I have a few pre-approved buyers right now, and table it instead of taking what they say for face value. And 2 weeks later, someone else in your office is listing that house and they get the sign in the yard. Okay. Because they were able to overcome the seller's objection to listing. So we're always overcoming objections. And if you're not overcoming objections, you're not in sales. Okay. You're not selling, because that's what we do. We overcome objections all the time. We're going to go over 12 ways to be better at communicating. Radically differentiate yourself. Okay. And I believe this. I believe that we sell ourself first and the value of working with you. You have to radically differentiate yourself among all of the sea of people out there that are agents. And so we don't want consumers to think that all agents are the same. You want them to think that might be the case for everyone else, but not for me, because I add extreme value and I'm going to add value to the process. I'm going to help you get through this process with ease. I solve problems. It's going to be stress-free, and I add tremendous value to selling your home through my aggressive, proven marketing strategy. No one wants it. We shouldn't be calling it a listing presentation to a consumer. It's a marketing strategy. That's being intentional. That's being specific, right? That's saying marketing proposal, or I have a marketing strategy that gets results. So when we look at this chart, which is really going to hopefully help you, okay, communicate better. 55% of communication is body language. Now, if you didn't know that, think back and look at your personal relationships. Think about, when we make a face and someone in our personal life says, why are you making a face? I have an Italian mother who for years I thought she was making faces at me, okay? She's not making faces at me, she's making faces, okay? I do the same thing. And so take that into your professional world and say, how can I respond, read body language better, respond to what's happening to people? Because we're human beings, right? And we're emotionally driven beings. And so what happens is people, they make, when things are live, when the offer presentation is live, it's emotional and people may not make the right decisions. They may not be making decisions that are in their best financial interest. And so watching body language is key. Watching body language is an open house when you first meet somebody, right? So let's look at this. 55% is body language. 38% is tone of voice, which means how you speak, how energetic you are, how positive you are. If you say, oh, David, I have an offer. You're going to kill me. It's really low and you're going to kill me. As the introduction call, when I make the call to tell David I have an offer, that is Debbie Downer like, right? And or I could call and say, hey, even if it's a low offer, I could say, David, hey, it's Sherry Johnson with Berkshire Hathaway. I'm so excited. I have a written offer to present to you. I can't wait to get this to you. Instead, we email this, right? There's no voice fluctuation. There's no enthusiasm, and there's no positivity. So tone of voice is key. The other place tone of voice is crucial is when you meet somebody at an open house. Are you sitting at the kitchen on your phone or laptop and not at the front door, engaging and excited, right? Tone of voice. Am I excited or am I Debbie Downer? Right? I'm sorry if people are acting like Debbie Downer. That doesn't work in sales. We have to be positive. I can't tell you how many people say to me, you're so positive, when I'm negotiating what looks like a horrible situation, right? And I'm saying, hey, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, we're going to sell your house tonight. And they say, I don't think so. And I say, yeah, we are, because we have a written offer and we're going to put this together and we're going to be as positive as possible. So tone of voice, huge. When you're talking about the house, when you're on the phone, people can hear your tone of voice and they can tell whether you're excited, enthusiastic, or not. And I can tell you that enthusiasm wins every time. I've seen new agents beat out top producing agents who are have more experience because they were more enthusiastic at the listing appointment. Lastly, only 7% of communication are the actual words that we use. So this is where this becomes critical. Are you choosing the right words? Are you saying words that matter? Are you saying words that actually hurt you and you don't even know it, right? Do you filter information, right? Or do you tell everybody everything, right? And focus on the personalities and not the properties. So we're going to cover those right now. And again, when you think about this, we're going to learn powerful scripts that will help move people through the sales process. That's what happens. And you'll be speaking literally with intention, and you will get better results, and you will be very much uniquely separating yourself, right? And differentiating your skill and your value to people. So the first one I'm going to say is ask leading questions. So the person, strategy number one, the person who talks the most just talks the most, okay? They're just talking more than other people. So you might be doing this unconsciously when you're building rapport. The person who asks the most questions actually controls a conversation, right? So it's kind of like a really good attorney who's asking a lot of questions to take them down the road. So you need to qualify people. You need to know where they're at. Where do you want to live and when do you want to be there? You know what, Jill and Max, I'm going to be asking you a lot of questions during the process. I need to ask you a lot of questions so that I can help you, right? And so we're going to ask a lot of questions that tell me exactly what I need to know so how I can best serve them. So that I can know and understand what the seller's motivation is instead of not asking those questions. How much are you going to save if the house doesn't sell? What are your intentions? When do you plan to be moved to Texas? All these things are important and we just don't ask them. Building rapport, we need to do, but we have to, sprinkle in a bunch of questions, and the person who controls the conversation is the one who's asking the most questions. Over mirroring people, okay, I gave you an example of that already, is not good. When a seller says, I'm offended, and you say, I am too, that's not helpful, okay? You want to actually say, gee, I understand. Empathy is, those two words, I understand, are the most underused and most effective in communication, both personally and professionally. So when we say I understand, we're validating that they are upset, right? But then we're going to say, let's talk about this. We have a written offer, and you have the seller. You've all had this person who says, we're not putting $1,700 in home inspection repairs. We're going to put the house back on the market. and raise the price. And how many times have I watched listing agents actually do that? And they say to me, well, I have to because they'll fire me. Well, that's not true. They're not going to fire you because you're giving them, better advice. You just have to learn how to be able to navigate those conversations. Again, over mirroring leads to the house not selling or having the seller do something that's not in their best financial interest. So sometimes it's good to pause things. Sometimes it's good to say, I understand, but tell me why you don't want to list your house right now, because actually it's in your best financial interest to list now, because we've already missed the first half of the selling season, and I don't want you to miss the rest of the buyers that are in the marketplace today. We can get a higher price today than 30 or 60 days from now. So think about it. I'd like to come over and see your home. What's better for you, Thursday at 5 or Saturday at 10? Because I'm coming. And you say these things, again, you're adding value. Let's talk about that. The risks of waiting versus the benefits of listing now. And I understand you have a lot going on with the summer, but more buyers are out today. So let's have that conversation. I'd like to come over. What's better for you, Thursday at 5 or Saturday at 10? Which in and of itself is a strategy, right? Thursday at 5 or Saturday at 10. We call this the presumptive close technique. It's a matter of which one, not when, right? So it's not a matter of if I'm coming. It's when I come. It's just a matter of, nailing down the day. And so many agents will say to me, I never knew how to ask for an appointment until I used that script. So again, natural progression is letting them lead everything. I've always called this negotiation class, who's leading the transaction, you or your client? And you can't have your client say, oh, I'm asking for all these things in a home inspection. Not good, okay? Some of them, yes, but you're not being dragged around by the client, okay? You can't do that. You're the professional, and you need to establish that you add value by giving them risks and benefits and bringing up things like, hey, I don't know if this is going to be in your best financial interest. I don't need to know your financial situation, all of it, but I know the real estate one that, if we put the house back on the market, we may not get another sale. It took us X number of showings to get this offer. It took us X number of days. I don't think that's in your best financial interest. Why don't we hit the pause button and think about this? So you have to be the one asking questions at all levels, whether you're in negotiation or whether you're qualifying a new buyer. The next one is in your best financial interest, which clearly is one of my taglines and probably one of my most favorite of many. We have lots of Sherry-isms, but we have this one, which is really probably the title of my book, but it's really great because you can use this as a question. You can use it as a statement. Mr. and Mrs. Seller, it is not going to be in your best financial interest to list your home with anyone other than Berkshire Hathaway Home Services and Sherry Johnson. Let me show you why. Differentiating point bullet number 1, differentiating point bullet number 2, etc. Right? And so when you say it as a statement, it's very convincing. And truly, it isn't in their best financial interest to list with another company, especially these other companies that are out there. And I'm going to give them a free commercial here. So nor should you, by the way. Stop talking about the competitors. When you want to talk about the competitor at an appointment, intentionally say XYZ company, right? It's funny, but it's true. We are constantly glorifying everybody else. So sorry for that digression. But the truth is, when we create doubt and we say, will this be in your best financial interest? Now I'm saying it as a question, right? Will it be in your best financial interest to counter for $2,000 when we have $415,000 right now that they're willing to pay? And if I go back one more time, okay, I don't know about the risk in doing that for $2,000. There are 2 other houses they're looking at, right? So we need to give people risks and benefits, but we need to be very, very strategic about saying, how is this going to affect you? If someone is paying for 2 houses and one is not lived in and it's for sale, and they are paying for a house in Texas and they're paying for a house here that is empty, and it's been 12 months of being empty, that's called opportunity cost. You need to bring that up and you need to say, we could have lowered the price and been sold and you could have had all that money that you spent. So sometimes every time, bringing up your best financial interest, even with a for sale by owner. Mr. For sale by owner, is it going to be in your best financial interest to continue to list by owner, right? You have not had success over the last 2 months. I want to earn your trust in your business. And I'm just concerned that it won't be in your best financial interest if all the buyers have gone and we list your house in September, when we can list it right now. And I have a proven marketing plan. I also have a formula for why your house isn't sold and why it hasn't sold. So again, what's better for you, Thursday at 5 or Saturday at 10? Let me come over. I'll show you my formula. I'm not listing your house. I mean, I'm going to, right? I can hear the laughter, I hope. But the truth is, I need to get in front of this person and I need to get there, and I can use these statements, right? Like as a question or a statement to say, I don't think it's going to be in your best financial interest to continue buying owner. I get it. You want to save the commission dollars. You may not even have your house priced correctly, and no one knows it's for sale. So why don't I come over? I'm not listing it. I'm not coming to list it. I want to show you my creative, proven marketing strategy that gets results. And again, when you're ready in 2 weeks or 5 days or this weekend, you can list it this weekend, right? I just went from 2 weeks to 5 days to this weekend. So being strategic, okay? And again, is it in your best financial interest? And again, say that as a statement, very powerful, and say it as a question. Both very, very powerful. Strategy 3, we did this presumptive close. And we've got to be using words on purpose. So when we say, if I list your house, horrible, right? Or if we say, if you choose me, or can we meet on, no, we don't want to ask yes or no questions unless we know what the answer is we want to hear, right? For the right price, you would sell your house, right? I mean, we know that answer. For the right price and terms, I could have your house sold before it's even listed, which is another value add, right? I have pre-approved buyers that are looking for a house in your neighborhood. I'd like to come and see it first, see if it works for them. And who knows, I could have it sold. So again, when instead of if. Okay, we don't want to say if you'll list with me, I'll have a broker's open. I watch agents, I go on listing appointments, I still do. And it's a confidence thing. And so you want to say things like, hey, congratulations on your decision to buy a house. I'm so glad we're working together. So that's the front page of your home buyer guide. And your home buyer guide, which most of you don't have, if I did a poll right now and asked you how many of you are using a home buyer guide, right, to differentiate yourself and add value, most are going to say, oh, I don't have one, because we don't do that for buyers. Your first page says, I'm so glad we're working together. Dear new client, very presumptive. You're my new client. Oh, I didn't know that. Yeah, you just hired me, right? So when I list your home, I will have it on. When I have the brokers open, one of the best things I love to say on a listing appointment that just works every time is right after I get a tour of the house and I'm walking back to the kitchen where we're sitting, I say, hey, Jill, I'm going to need a key. I'm going to need a key to the house. And Jill walks right over to the junk drawer, right, and gets a key. While we're talking, I just keep talking. And while I'm talking, she goes and gets the key and brings it over and lays it in front of me. And you're getting that listing because they're not interviewing anybody else at that point, okay? You can say that on the phone when you're talking to people. I did this class and gave this script, and less than a week later, I got a photo and a text from an agent who used this line on the phone with an expired listing for $750,000. And she said to them, I'm going to need a key. They literally signed her docs and sent the key to her, and she took a picture of the key. So this works. Again, it's the presumption, and then that we're meeting Saturday at 5 or Thursday at 5 or Saturday at 10. We're meeting. It's just a matter of those dates, right? So you want to use presumptive closes whenever possible. Strategy 4, I learned this from my amazing Italian mother, who is an amazing businesswoman. But she always said to me, no matter what, if you want to negotiate anything in life, anything, personally or in business, it has to be done using the sandwich theory. Okay. And the sandwich theory is to, weave in the bad news between two pieces of good news. So it's like a sandwich, right? The bread is the good news and the meat is the bad news. And so we want to start and end on a positive note, right? We want to say to a seller, for example, Mr. and Mrs. Seller, I'm so excited. We have a written offer on your property and these people love your house. Now they feel there is, a significant amount of redecorating that needs to be done. We already knew that. So they're willing to do that work. right? And they believe that it's a little more costly than you probably are happy about, but they love your house. They love the floor plan. They love the yard. They want to raise their kids here, and they're going to buy your house, right? And so I started and ended on a positive note. And what we do a lot, and we don't realize what you want to avoid doing, is ending on a flat note. So many times we just give delivery information. We deliver the information, and then we end on this like flat note that is awful. The flat note, Debbie Downer, okay, is not ending on a positive note. That weird silence where you go, I don't like this. This feels weird. It feels weird because it is weird, number one. And number two, you need to be the one who fills in that space, right? And says, actually, we haven't had any offers, so I'm happy that we have this offer, right? And we need to consider a strategy for negotiating. And what's our strategy for negotiating going to look like? Let's talk about that, right? Be in the solution, not in the problem. And so when you're constantly just agreeing with them or saying, I know it's not what you wanted, or you say, yeah, I know, I'm offended too, that doesn't help, right? So flat notes don't work. And too long of a pause doesn't work either, right? Pausing unintentionally works. Ask anybody who goes and asks for a raise, right? When someone offers them something, you could be silent and pause, and all of a sudden the number just went up, right? Because someone will take your pause in that case as being not happy, when I could have been ecstatic about the number, okay? But I didn't say anything. And so you want to have an intentional pause when you want an intentional pause. Pausing at the wrong time or waiting too long is bad too. So it's very strategic. The sandwich theory works. And it especially works when you're trying to price a house, right? And you're talking with them and you want to continually remind them of the things that are wrong with the house without sounding too negative about the things that are wrong with the house. To weave that stuff in to the conversation. It really does work. And honestly, the next time you get that, try it, right? I mean, we have so many times agents will call up and, like I said earlier, I have a low offer. Don't kill me. Don't shoot the messenger. It's like, get rid of all those dumb scripts. They don't work. And you want to start and end on a positive. That means you can do this with other agents, right? And our daily interaction with agents. How are we communicating, right? In person, I hope, at least on the phone, and not via text, because I can't begin and end on a high note, right? When I'm just texting, because it's quicker. Doesn't work. So number 5, pre-negotiate. And so nothing better than setting this up for, I like to golf. So when we set this up at the tee box for a really great drive, okay, we are doing the following. Instead of talking about it in real time, right? This is what's happening, and I tell you about it. This is what's happening now, and I tell you about it. Oh, there's radon, and we have to fix that. And then everyone's freaking out, and they have their hair on fire, okay? You're pre-counseling. You're talking about this stuff ahead of time, and so you're going to have an easier conversation when the offer comes in, when the home inspection happens, okay? So think about this. If you were to say to people at your listing appointment, this is my marketing strategy. Here's my value. Number 2, here's our pricing strategy. And number 3, here is our negotiation strategy. By the way, you just signed all the papers, and you're going to look at the sellers and you're going to say, here's what I want you to know before it's live. Let's talk about what could happen, right? We may be getting multiple offers. If that's the case, bring that up and explain how that works. If you're in a balanced market right now, or the house is not in the market where it's selling in 4 hours or 4 days, okay, and it's a more balanced situation, you want to prepare people for what the offer could come in at right now, before you put the sign in the yard, before the offer comes in, okay? I'm going to say, Terry, here's the deal. We could get, if things are selling at 97%, I might say, hey, they're coming in at 90. Stuff's coming in at 88 or 90%. In fact, it's going to look like this. Okay. It might come in at 275 on a 330 list, right? Now, I want her to freak out now. I want her to say, I'm not selling my house for 285. I know. And I don't want you to be offended when this happens either. It's just where they start. So let's prepare people, because when it comes in at 92%, okay, right? When it comes in and it's higher than 90%, Now everybody is happy with the 92% instead of being upset with 92%, right? It's a lot harder to convince a seller that 92% is a great offer. First of all, it's the only offer we have, right? Number one. Number two, after it comes in, okay? It's not going to happen. Are you going over saving the deal? Yes, I'm going to go over saving the deal while under contract. You got it. Thank you, Marissa. So think about this. When I prepare Terry that the offer might come in at 90% and ahead of time, and I even go like lower than what I think it's going to come in at, because when it comes in at 92, now she's thrilled. The 310, the 315 doesn't feel as bad when I told her it could have come in at 300, right? And so what happens is everybody's now poised and positioned to remember that conversation and say, oh yeah, you told us it could have come in lower. This is actually better. And so what happens is, remember, 15 minutes before they see you or talk to you about the offer that's real, the one that is now live, okay? When that deal comes in, when that offer comes in, they could be coming from a stressful work thing, a stressful kid thing, a stressful parent thing, their own health stresses. Who knows? The world is stressed out. The world is stressed. And they could be totally calm and still be stressed out about the offer, okay? I want to rip the Band-Aid off right now and have this conversation and say, we are not going to be offended. Number one, we are going to counter every offer that comes in. Why? Because that's what we do, right? We are going to focus on the property and not the personalities. I'll cover that in a minute. And here's the thing, you know, when it does come in and people are like, oh, I'm so offended, right? Now you're not in a multiple situation because those are easy, right? We usually get 2 or 3 or 4 and we can work those and we can close that deal a lot easier. When the ones that are coming in where people are offended because we may have gone a little bit higher in the price, no big deal. But, you know, what can you say to someone when they say they're offended? After you coached them and told them initially, don't be offended, right? The line is, and let's say you didn't have that opportunity because you have listings right now, and this happens, the line that will change your life and change theirs and just solve this and cut right through it is, you know, Mr. and Mrs. Seller or Terry, I'm more offended by the other 12 people who looked at your house and didn't write an offer. And so that's sort of like a mic drop moment. And they say, oh, yeah, she's right. He's right. And what happens is you don't have to go on and on about it. You just let it hang out there. And then you say, let's get your house sold. Okay. Let's make the counter offer. Let's decide what's our strategy for how we're going to counter. Okay. So that is a very, very effective way. I coach an agent actually in Cleveland here, Berkshire Hathaway. The first week I was coaching her, she used that line. She closed a $600,000 deal that had been on the market for a while. And when she used that line, it just cut through it all. And everybody said, yeah, you're right. Other people have looked at the house and they didn't write an offer. Right now, you might have had 24 showings. Whether it's 9 showings or 24, it's still effective. And again, people focus on the personalities and they get hung up on, I don't like the buyer. Stop discussing that stuff, okay? Filter the information, people, because the stuff that is adversely going to affect will, right? If you throw the other agent under the bus to make yourself look good, that comes back to bite you too, because at the end of the transaction, everyone's like, oh, she never returns calls. Oh, that's right. Right at the beginning. It's like, you know what? If they don't need to know it, don't say it. Okay. I saw this. I'll give you a short condensed version of it. I do this in our negotiation module. But an agent in my office was working with a buyer, and I saw this buyer out in the community, and she asked me about a house, and I said, yes, I know the house. And she said, well, you know, we have an offer on it. I said, oh, you must be working with so-and-so. And she said, yes. And I said, great. And she said, but it's not going well. The seller came back and told us that it was take it or leave it. And they're totally offended and they don't want to work with us. And we're so bummed because we love this house. And I, you know, the first thing that's going through my head was, why do you know all of this? Right now I'm talking to a consumer. I'm not one of the agents involved. And I'm listening to this and I'm saying, why do you know this information? Right? Like, why did my agent deliver all of it? You don't have to deliver all of it. Okay. But they did. And so I said, do you still want to buy the house? Yes. Would you pay more for the house? Absolutely. We planned on it. Great. Call your agent back, call my agent, call the agent back and put the deal together and tell them, here, we want to go up in price. But the seller said, I said, I don't care what the seller said, right? Tenacity, perseverance, Never give up. And there's always a way. There's always a way to keep a deal together. But it's not going to happen when we repeat things like, hey, this is take it or leave it. I mean, when it really matters, I guess you can say that, like at the very end of the end of the end of the trying, right? But we shouldn't be saying all of this. And it just doesn't work. It's unfriendly. And really, at the end of a negotiation, everyone's supposed to feel good, right? No one's supposed to feel raked over. Everyone's supposed to feel good. I got a good price. I paid a good price. Everyone loves the process. And instead, we're jumping in the ring, with Mike Tyson, or we're trying to be cool and look good in front of everybody. So we don't want to do that. We want to be effective. We want to be deal makers. Here's another one that does not work. Okay. This is what I call the client versus my client. And it goes like this, right? How many times have we heard agents, or maybe you have said this yourself, and it's okay if you had, because you didn't know, but now you're going to know. You call up and you say, you hear this, I'm not going to let my buyer fill in the blank, right? I'm not going to let my seller. And this possessive pronoun, okay, is not productive. It's not effective. And here's what happens. Again, we think we're in the boxing ring. We think we're supposed to look good and be cool and make our, clients think we're working for them. It's very adversarial. Okay. It's like you're fighting their fight. And then there's some kind of fight. Like, I'm not letting my buyer. First of all, it's a license law violation to do those things. Number one, right off the bat. Number two, I want you to replace the word my with the. And I want you to say the client instead of my buyer or, my seller. I want you to say, or my client. I want you to say the client. Good attorneys get deals done and negotiate better when they separate themselves from their clients. So do we. So it's not against licensed law to have what I call realtor conversation with the other side and put a deal together or keep it together because you're smart and you're effective and you're a facilitator and you're a deal maker instead of preventing deals. I call it sales prevention. This is, one area where, client agents will say to me, well, I want to treat people like they're my family. And you know what? You can do that and still be more effective in communicating by not using the term my. Your client wants you to put the deal together, right? They want you, I guess, to treat them like family. Really, they want you to put the deal together and keep it together. That's what our job is, to diffuse situations, not create them. And so anytime you switch the word my to the, I promise you'll be separating yourself from the client and you'll be more effective because you'll be able to say, David, what do we have to do here? The buyer is looking for this. I know the seller wants this. Now we're having a conversation, okay, as effective facilitating problem solvers, collaboratively coming up with a solution. We don't want to be in the courtroom and we want to be effective. I hope you liked that one because it's one of my favorites. And all the time, agents' faces light up. And they come up to me after and they say, I've been doing that for 25 years. I know. You didn't know about it. Now you do. And now you can be more effective by using the word the. It's really great. It's a game changer, obviously. Oh, here we go. Obviously is my next strategy. And what happens with this word, obviously, is that, whatever we focus on expands. Everything in negotiating, in everything good in life, right? Whatever you focus on expands. Focus on bad things keep happening. You focus, on the sign-in sheet at an open house. Now we're all focused on the sign-in sheet and we're freaking out because we can't get people to sign in. They won't give us their last name. They won't give us their first name barely. And so we get all freaked out by the open house. And then your open house turns out to be not effective because you can't get over the sign-in sheet and you can't, you don't have a script for that. So I'm going to give you one right now. But here's the sad thing. So it gets weird. People won't give you their name, right? Now I cannot add value in the first 10, 15 seconds. I meet somebody at the front door. I'm shaking their hand. I'm saying, hi, I'm Sherry Johnson. I'm a top agent with Berkshire Hathaway Home Services, right? Professional realty. I'm shaking their hand and I'm telling them my name. And what do? Their body language goes like this. I'm coming towards them. They're going to naturally go back. It's pay attention. You'll see this and you'll notice it. I cannot add value, okay, in the first minute that I meet somebody. So they don't know how great I am. They don't know how much value I'm going to add to the process yet. So they're probably kind of standoffish. They don't want to give me their name. And that's totally cool. And that's fine. When it gets weird, unfortunately, you say, oh, here's another one that won't give me their last name. So you have to just say, you are. And then you say, I'm sorry, I didn't hear your last name. Even if they didn't say it. Just say, I'm sorry, I didn't hear your last name. What is it? and they'll give you their last name. Again, you're going to say, it's pivoting, it's knowing when to move on to something else. I call it minimizing and marginalizing. And so we're going to get through the sign-in sheet. You're going to get a listing appointment from the person who won't even give you their name at the front door. You're not going to do nothing and then say, hey, go ahead and check out the house. I'll be in the kitchen if you have any questions. Okay, which is what most of us do when we don't know how to overcome the sign-in sheet. So here's what I want you to do. When they come in, I love the word obviously because it implies that, what does it imply? That what I'm telling you right now is something you should already know. Okay, so obviously I'm going to need your information, Amanda, because you're in someone else's house. So the best way to get over this is to say, obviously I'm going to need your information. You're in someone else's home. Okay, and just like if I was doing an open house at your house, I just need a record of who's been here. I don't want you to say security reasons. That's a red flag that makes people feel even stranger and more weird. So you're going to say, obviously, I need your information. You're in someone else's home. Okay. Now, if you're still doing it on a piece of paper, you should write it. You can read your own handwriting. If you're using a laptop, which I hope you are, with some kind of landing page, so you look really, 2019, and it goes right into your CRM at that point, which is great. It just goes straight into a contact in your CRM if you use a landing page. Either way, you want to get their information. And again, say, obviously, I'm going to need your information. You're in someone else's home. Now, at that particular moment, depending on how Amanda reacts with her body language, right? If she's making another face like, it's painful, really don't want to do this. The next thing you're going to say immediately is, don't worry, I'm not going to call you. I don't call people who don't want to be called. I don't like when people do that to me. Genuine, authentic, just being a normal human being, decent, right? So don't worry, and said with the right conviction, the right cadence, right? When you speak like this and you say, hey, don't worry, I'm not going to call you. I don't call people who don't want to be called. Okay. Now I'm going to get a listing appointment with Amanda in the next 15 minutes. I'll be going to her house. Okay. And we'll be best friends. All right. So that's what happens at the front door. Obviously, I'm going to need your information. Now, you'd have to take my Make 50 Grand at your next open house class to hear the rest of that so you can get the listing appointment. I don't have time to do that right now. But when you add value, okay, on the tour of the house, you walk them through and you're adding value, you're going to secure and you're going to get hired and you're going to get the listing, okay? So mark that down. You should take the Make 50 Grand at your next open house webinar as well, or just join our coaching program and you'll get all of this. Home buyer guide, okay, same thing. I say you've got a value to give people. If you're not using a home buyer guide, this is free value add right here. Make it special. Make it feel like, they only buy a house every 9 years now. Okay. So, or if they've never done it, all of a sudden I call it a first time home buyer guide. This is just basic marketing 101, but it will definitely help because the pages in there, okay, and the pages we give you in our home buyer guide that you can brand and start using immediately say, congratulations on buying a home. I'm so glad we're going to be working together. And then pages after that explain, if you see new construction, if you see a for sale by owner, if you see an open house, if you see properties online, here's how you have to act so that we maintain our working relationship. And it's going to save the headaches of people going off and, signing a deposit slip and buying new construction that they never said they were going to ever buy, right? Now, again, home buyer guide adds value. Use them and be strategic with it, and you'll get listing appointments from it. You can also keep somebody on the phone when you're talking to them and you say, hey, I have an exclusive home buyer guide. I have the exclusive home buyer guide. You can also use this as a lead generator on Facebook, right? Click here for a copy of the exclusive Sherry Johnson home buyer program and our home buyer guide. Free. Okay, they want it. They want the information. Then you can pick up a lead, right, from Facebook using a home buyer guide and calling it an exclusive home buyer program. That sets you apart. That makes you different. Number 9, using anecdotal stories. A lot of us do this and are very effective at it. Mr. and Mrs. Buyer or Amanda, I'm talking to Amanda at the open house and I say, you know what, Amanda, I work at your pace and your speed. Many of my clients, I'm talking about other people's situations. Really, I'm talking about yours, but I don't want to say you, because that's rude. So I'm going to say extreme examples, right? Many of my clients have already sold their house. They're moving here from out of state. Their lease is up. They need a house right away, and their needs are really immediate and urgent. And with those people, I have to show them houses all the time, and they're going to buy a house from me within a week or, 2 weeks. Right now, even if this isn't happening, I want you to give this example. Okay, you're painting a picture. While other clients are just starting out the process, right, and they have more time because they didn't sell their house yet, or they don't have to sell, but they don't need to move, and they're waiting for the right house in the right neighborhood to come up. And I show those people houses, infrequently, but I'm still working with them. They're just not as immediate. So tell me, Amanda, where would you fall in that? Where would you say you are like my clients who are more immediate, or would you say that you are just starting out and gathering information? And when we give two extremes, now we can really hone in on how I can help you, right? And how I can start the process. One of the other things we should say is, hey, don't be surprised, Amanda, if you buy the first time we go out. Many of my clients do, right? I'm telling you about other people, and it pertains to you. And it will help you be really, really able to get people to make a decision. I mean, after I say don't be surprised if you buy the first time out, I follow that up with, this isn't supposed to be like another full-time job for you looking for a house. It's my full-time job, but it shouldn't be for you. And people usually resonate to that. So that's good. And I'm going to jump over to number 10. Number 10 is inspection resolution process. So this is, saving a contract, right? So saving the deal while under contract. I wish I had like 3 hours right now. We could talk about all the different ways that we can do that. We cover that in all of our modules, but I will cover a few things right now that you can do to save a deal that's under contract from falling apart, okay? And the first one is call the inspection process the home inspection resolution process. I know all of you, again, this is a word I say on purpose, and I say it because it's intentional. Resolution implies what? Resolve. And it implies a positive outcome. And so when you say, the inspection contingency, I know that's the name of the form, okay, but that doesn't mean anything. That means it sounds like a sterile medical thing, right? The contingent removal, whatever. It's a contingency removal. It's the form. That's what we call it. But the process is a resolution process. And when you start to insert that word resolution, you will get better results as a result of using it. You're going to come up with proactive solutions. You need to say to people, I don't think this is in your best financial interest to let this deal fall apart. Okay, it took X number of showings to get this offer. It took X number of days. Okay, and let's talk about the risks and benefits and whether this decision is going to be in your best financial, interest. And the truth of the matter is, if it's with a buyer, we need to say to a buyer at the beginning of the process and prepare them, the home inspection is not another round of negotiations. It's not. We want the house to come out okay. We're not looking for problems, actually. You're buying a used home. If it's structural, yes. If it's not structural, yeah, I know. And if it's not structural, okay, these are issues we have to resolve. Whether we resolve them today or we resolve them with another buyer, they're not going away. So if you can have that conversation at the beginning, like I said, preparing a seller at the beginning, right? I would say to a seller, please plan on $3,000 of home inspection repairs that we may need to use on a 350 house. Now it might be more. I don't know what's wrong with your house, right? But when I say it's 3,000, and I say it might be 3,000 to 5,000, okay, 3,000 to 5,000 at a $400,000 house. Okay, it's not crazy. I'm preparing them for a higher number. When it comes in at $1,700 or $1,200, they're going to say, "Oh, that's not so bad," right? That's not so bad. But when we don't prepare them, we're doing it in real time. And when we do it in real time, we're trying to overcome objections with a seller or a buyer that it's in real time and their hair's on fire and everyone's emotional. So if we can prepare them ahead of time, here's what it costs to repair this. We may have this. If we do, it's our problem because it's not going to go away, and it's our responsibility to fix it because it's our problem. To a buyer, this is not another round of negotiations. It's got to be health, safety, hazardous, And if it's general maintenance, it's general maintenance, right? The best thing you could do is prepare your sellers that, hey, we may have to do 5 or 6 things. Okay, I'm gonna bring the list down to the bare minimum. But at the end of the day, we might have to do 4 or 5 or 6 things to keep this deal together, and it will be in your best financial interest to do those things. If I have that conversation at the beginning, then I have it again before the inspection, and then by the time the list comes, they're going to be reasonable, and we want people to be reasonable. That's all we're asking for. Continue to be nice, right? This isn't about hammering anybody. And if we're letting the client control the conversations, that's where we get kind of that's where we get in a position where we aren't the driver. You could be the most aggressive realtor and not be obnoxious. I have done it for 25 years. Okay, no one has ever said you're so obnoxious, but I'm very effective, and the reason I'm effective is that it's in my client's best interest. Okay, but it's in everybody's best interest. Okay, because we lose this deal. I mean, it's like telling a buyer, I can't reproduce this house for you. How many times do we have to resell a house to somebody, right? We shouldn't be showing them more houses because something else came up in the markets, right? I am a little obnoxious. You are a little obnoxious. I love it, David. Thank you. So think about this. If there's a house that it's at a vintage century home or something, okay, or it's on a property that you cannot reproduce, you have to say that. You have to say, I can't reproduce this house for you, and I don't want you to lose it over one repair that's really maintenance. Okay, we have to be in control of these things, not letting the client do that. If you would like, and I'm going to get a ton of emails right now, which is fine, but if you email me, okay, Sherry Johnson at Sherry, I'm sorry, I can't even tell you my email, Sherry@sherryjohnson.com. Here it is. And I have all your information, but if you want this one particular document, I'll send it to you, and it's called Overcoming Buyer Objections. I'll send that to you, and it's about 14 different situations that will give you literal scripts, the scripts right out from me. Just take that Sherry@sherryjohnson.com. We'll send that to you in the next day or two. And again, home inspection resolution. And I have to tell you, I learned that from an agent in Atlanta, Georgia, who was working with a seller that I was working with the buyer in Ohio. And when she said home inspection resolution with her accent, I was sold. I love it. I can't take credit for it, but I will tell you it's so effective. And I get tons and tons of emails from people and texts that say, I'm using this and it's so perfect. Thank you. Because it's just those little tweaks that you're going to do to be more effective and to be better at what you are good at already, but we're going to make you just that much more better. So, we talked about adding value in prospecting. Whenever you're talking to a for sale by owner, you have those in your market, and you should go after them, okay? Because every time you drive by a for sale by owner, depending on your marketplace, okay, it's like $5,000 to $10,000 to $20,000 of commissions that you are driving past that you're not taking advantage of, okay? So it drives me crazy when no one goes after those. When you're calling expired listings, which by the way, are free leads sitting in the MLS. Everyone's buying leads from everybody, okay? And I love homes.com, okay? I am a national speaker for them. But my goodness, okay, you're buying leads and there are leads sitting in the expireds right there that are available for you. And they're just sitting there and you have the formula for why your house didn't sell. Go back 6 months or a year and talk to people. I say the word formula, right? People are, what's the formula? Well, it's everything you know. It's everything you know about why the house didn't sell or isn't selling as a buy owner, right? So think about it. If I said to you, oh, Tracy, you just made my day. Ah, you are awesome. If I said to a seller, right, I have a formula for why your house isn't selling. Let me come over. I'll be there Thursday at 5 or Saturday at 10. They're going to say, really? You have a formula? Yes, I have a formula. So what's the formula? Well, I go through the entire formula strategy in our coaching, okay, that I would encourage you to get a strategy call today. Okay, I'll give you a special promo at the end here, really for free. But think about it. The word formula. I mean, people love this. That I have agents, they raise their hand, there, what's the formula? The formula is everything you know about why that isn't selling. It's, guess what, Mr. Seller? I have new statistical information that you haven't seen because your house has been off the market for 6 months. Things have changed. It's actually never been a better time to put your house on the market. And it's in your best financial interest to sit with me and just look at the numbers. I'll give you the formula for why your house hasn't sold. I'll bring that with me. Okay, part of the formula is I have this thing called translating buyer feedback. It's part of our pricing strategy and servicing the listing modules. And we give this to you, and you can brand it, put your name on it, put our logo, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services logo on it, and boom, you've got this like formula, okay? The real formula is the stuff we give you. But the formula, the word formula, is going to get you in to an appointment. It just does. And I meant to say this at the beginning. I had a gentleman from Chicago. I know we're a little over, but stay on because there's more good stuff. This guy took my course, actually, as a homes.com event in Chicago, and it was on a Tuesday. And on Thursday, he called me up and said, Sherry, I was sitting in the front row. Do you remember me? I said, yes, I do. And he said, I need to hire you. And I said, why? And he said, well, I just got my third for sale by owner appointment. Okay. First time I called all three of these people. I have 3 appointments using your script strategy, and this stuff works. And he went on to say, I couldn't have gotten these appointments if I just read the material. It was the way you told me to deliver it. And I got rid of all the stuff I used to do. I said, well, what did you do differently? He said, well, it's in the delivery. So he said, it's like a joke. If you tell the joke wrong, it's not funny. It doesn't work. And so he said, the way you told me to add value, to figure out the pain points, solve their problem, add value, and then close, I got an appointment with all these people. And I said, what was the price point? Because I had to know that in Chicago. And he said $350 to $550 on all 3 of them. And he sold them all. And he's got, 7 or 8 under contracts right now. And he had nothing when I met him. He didn't have any business. Okay. So the formula and the delivery, I guess is what I'm trying to tell you, is strategic. He just put a strategy in place instead of featuring and benefiting people to death, which is what we do. Lastly, communicate in person. Remember, 55% is body language. If I have a low offer and it's not a multiple situation, I want to meet the seller at the office with the listing agent. I know it's old school. It may sound crazy if you've never done it, but I'm telling you right now, you have a 99% chance of closing that deal. Okay. Especially if it's not like over 95% of list price. So if it's a really high list price and you feel comfortable sending it through the airwaves, okay, and you feel comfortable that the listing agent's going to close it, great. Your buyer thinks you're presenting that offer. And the best way to present that offer literally is in person. If you're talking with somebody on the other side of the phone, on the other side of the transaction who's never done that, just say to them, it's okay. You know what? It actually is more effective. Okay. It's more effective if we do this together. I'm not going to say anything to your seller that you wouldn't, approve of. And we're going to put this deal together today at 4:00 when I come to your office. And again, I said earlier, texting and emailing, you cannot send emails to people telling them what's wrong with their house. I mean, you have listings that are not selling. Okay. And some of those people are not motivated, by the way, and that's okay. Leave that listing untouched. Just go get more listings and just stop fighting with the seller for a price reduction if they're not motivated. 25% of our inventory has always been like that. So, but again, if you've got a situation where they need to sell and you've got feedback, you really want to not email that to them. Okay. You want to do that in person, set up another appointment, have them come to your office, go to their house. You haven't seen them probably since you listed their house. Okay. So this is a relationship business. I want referrals from these people. Okay. Even if they're going out of town, I want referrals from everybody. And so if I'm in person, I'm operating at a much higher level of professionalism than sending somebody a huge reason why their house isn't selling. Okay. And then at the end saying we need a price reduction. That's not effective. Sending them the automated showing feedback is not effective. You know what sellers say to me? Your agents don't know how to overcome objections. And they're right. Okay. The savvy ones are right because they know we're not overcoming objections. When people talk on the phone, they have a much higher success rate of overcoming objections because I can hear your voice. I can hear, I can solve problems better. I'll give you an example. We had a house that I had listed and I was relentless and I just called every single agent and I said, I know I sent you the feedback, but I'm calling to see what do I have to do to be number 1 on your buyer's list? And I said, oh, I don't know. And I said, well, what if we took the above ground pull out? What if we took it out and put grass down? Solve that problem. And she said, well, I don't know. I said, well, why don't you go call the buyer? Call the buyer, hang up with me, call the buyer right now, call me back, and I'll get the pool removed for you. She called back. We had that house sold in less than 12 hours from that conversation. So are you a deal maker, or are you just pushing, the send key and hoping that you're keeping deals together? Okay. You're not going to effectively communicate over the airwaves. You would never want test results given to you by your doctor, okay, on a text or an email. If they're bad, you want them to call you, okay? So it's just good common sense practice, except we're all in this shiny object technology world. Use the technology. If it's factual, use technology. I'm going to meet you at this house. Here's a copy of the inspection report. Here's a copy of the plat map. Here's the factual information that I'm giving you. Anything emotional, if you're typing and you start typing a paragraph, you want to stop typing and you want to pick up the phone and speak to that person, because at the very least, you can do a Zoom, okay, a Zoom conference call with people. I'm talking to you on Zoom. I can throw up the screen share and put their contract right after, especially after the deal is done and we had to get it done because it was a multiple and we might lose the house. Get them on the phone like this and use Zoom. You can get it for free for 45 minutes. You don't need you need probably 20 minutes. Put your contract up, go through the major highlight points, and make sure they understand what they just signed, okay? That's adding value. That's keeping a client for life, and that's also going to result in more referrals for you. Again, if you are strategic, you'll have much better results. If you're speaking on purpose, with intentional purpose, you're going to choose better words that will create better positive action, right? And you'll have a sales strategy for every opportunity, so that you have a goal and you have a strategy of what you want to happen out of this interaction. I hope this was a great webinar for you. I hope that you got a lot of useful information that you'll start using immediately. Is this in your best financial interest? When can we meet? What's better for you, Thursday at 5 or Saturday at 10? Thank you, Kathy. And thank you, everybody, for being here. If you want to go over to Facebook, I love when people tell me success stories of things that you've used. You can drop a 5-star recommendation on my Facebook page. That would be awesome of you. And that's going to be at Sherry Johnson Coaching on Facebook. Please join Rockstars in Real Estate with Sherry Johnson Coaching. Before you hang up, I do have a special giveaway. We are giving just to Berkshire Hathaway agents today, Berkshire Hathaway Home Services agents. And again, if you're thinking about coaching, we are a preferred coach with BHHS, and we're proud of that. And we're so honored. And we have lots and lots of great content, over 50 modules of content that you will be coached on, stuff you don't even know that you need. We do a skills assessment with every agent to teach, to figure out what you need coached on. We also, from London, that's awesome. Kelly, I just put the Sherry at sherryjohnson.com. If you want, you can also go to my website. I'm going to type that in here, and you can schedule a strategy call with us, and we can give you great tools while on this call. And you can also learn how the return on investment will double or triple your income. We have accelerated results. I just got a text message from an agent who's been with us for 2 months. She's already in 2 months has $2.6 million of transactions pending. And she said it's all a result of this program. And so what I want you to know right now is that a free giveaway we're doing, this promotion is a limited time, $600 value. ACE Social is provided by RIS Media. And I know we just had this rolled out for Berkshire Hathaway Home Services across the entire network. And that is the light version of the program, where you get one post a week. This is going to give you ACE Social as if you were to buy it as a single agent, and you'll have automated posts daily, every day, to your social media channels, LinkedIn, Twitter, and Facebook. And this is industry expert content that I think you are really going to love. You set it and forget it. As long as you're enrolled in our coaching program, you'll have this for free. We never charge you for it. And again, we're throwing that into our pro package. The pro package is actually starts at $575 only a month. And again, the return on investment, I can't stress this enough, will get you there faster, will change your life. I guarantee it. And we have accountability. We also have content. And so we look at your listing presentation. You get the entire home buyer guide only in the coaching program. Sorry to tell you that. That is available through one of our modules. One of the 50 modules is the home buyer guide program. But we will teach you, and you get literally 2 sessions a month. And so if you want to sign up for the pro package, it is $575 a month. The premium package is $995 a month, and that's going to offer about 4 hours of coaching a month, including sessions with me. So the premium is probably I believe our best value. You get 2 90-minute calls a month, and you get 4 on-demand calls, coaching calls that you can use anytime. Agents love it. And Rebecca, I'm thrilled you loved the webinar. Hey, Wayne, good to see you on here. I feel like I think you had a whole group, right? I heard about that. So Monarch Beach, California, you rock. Way to be on here. And thank you, Wayne. I really appreciate your support. And so if you're interested, please click on sherryjohnson.com. You can apply for coaching. There's no obligation. You literally get tips and topics and skills from us and in that call. We can also really dramatically increase your effectiveness and double, triple your income. That's what I do. And I have been doing this for a long time, and we like to take people from 6 million to 50 million in a very short amount of time. So if your goal is to go from 6 million to 20 million, we can get you there. We can double your production. We can double your income and really change your life. So you're 1 click away from changing your life, and you'll get this special promo, which is the ACE social package worth over $600 a year. You'll get that for life with us. And the form that I'm going to email you is called Objections, Overcoming Buyer Objections. And so you'll want to send that to sherry@sherryjohnson.com, and we can launch that out to you, as well as you will receive a copy of this webinar in an email. It will also be available on the Resource Center. I look forward to seeing you on our next exclusive preferred webinar series with Berkshire Hathaway that we do. If there's a topic you want, please email me, let me know. And again, set up your free complimentary coaching evaluation. You will not regret it at sherryjohnson.com. Go to our coaching page or the link that I provided in the chat. And again, that's sherryjohnson.com and under coaching. And there's a quick little application. We'll get a call set up for you, and we will help you take your business to the next level. You guys rock. I'm so grateful for you, and I'm grateful for the relationship. And I look forward to helping grow your business, not only the rest of the year, but way into the future. So remember, you have a listing appointment this week. You just don't know the address. I'll see you guys all soon. Thanks for being here. I'm going to save, I'm actually going to stay on for a few minutes because a couple of you are saying thank you. You're welcome. And you know what? We are so lucky, David, because we have an awesome team, and I can't wait to deliver this message live with them. So if any of you are out there and you want me to come to your office, I do in-house training. I will come out and speak to your office. I was just in Santa Barbara last month with the Santa Barbara group out of Santa Barbara with Kyle Kemp and that team and Joe Parker and everybody. That was a great event, and I'm happy to come to have your broker contact me, get them to dive in your office, or we can get a bunch of offices together. So I look forward to it. Again, Berkshire Hathaway agents, you rock. You're the best in the business. You are literally the best in the world. And we get to have that name, and we get to take that with us on our next appointment. And I just wish you the best. So thanks again for being here. Look forward to seeing you on our next webinar. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.